So now we will be learning with what are the various access modifiers used in Java. So we'll just see to that. Access modifiers means they can change the scope of that particular data member function or method or constructor. Okay, so what are the access modifiers or non-access modifiers? We'll see it in details. So non-access modifiers are static, abstract, synchronized, native, volatile and transient and many more. Whereas access modifiers are private, default, protected and public. So private access specifier, what it indicates that suppose we have two classes A and B, and A contains private data member and private method. So B cannot use that particular method or data member of class A unless and until it inherits it. Okay. Otherwise, it will get the compile time error. Like for example, you can see in class A, we have declared a method and a data member, that is data and MSG as private. And if I'm trying to use it in class, suppose for example, simple, there after creating that object, if I'm accessing data or that method outside the scope of that class, then I'll get compile time error. Okay. So here you will see that the object OBJ, when it is used for accessing data member data or method MSG, we will get compile time error. Why? Because these two data members are private. So likewise, you can restrict the scope. Then if constructor is private, then also it cannot be used beyond the scope of that particular class. Okay. So whensoever we are declaring a constructor, we make it public. So only when the object is created of that constructor, uh, object is created of that particular class, then only through constructor we can access it. Otherwise, if it is declared private, you will get compile time error. If I'm not putting any of the access modifier in Java, like I'm not putting private, public, protected. So by default, if I don't use any modifier, then it is treated default as by default. And what is the meaning of default? That suppose see here, class A, I'm having MSG as the method declared with no access modifier specified to it. So I'll not be able to use that particular method. Indicates what? By default, the methods are private. Okay. Next is protected access modifier. So in protected access modifier, they can be applied on data member, method or constructor, but it is not applied on class. So if suppose I am having two packages, for example, pack and my pack, and in that package pack, I am having class A that is public. So it can be accessed outside the package. But if suppose in that package, MSG method is declared as protected. So it can be accessed outside the class only and only when it is inherited. Like for example, I have a.java file in package pack. Class is public, but method is protected. So in suppose another package, my pack, if I'm importing it and uh, only when the class B extends class A, then only I can be able to access the method through that particular object. Otherwise, it will give me, if I'm not putting this extends keyword over here, and I'm directly trying to access this particular object, this method through that object, I'll get the compile time error. Okay. Then public access modifier is used for class methods and data members. So whichever is the class or method or access data member, it is referred as public. It can be used or accessed beyond the scope of that particular class, package, or that method. Okay. Like for example, see here, class A is public and method is also made public. So here I am able to just I have put import package name, and with that package name I have just created the object of that particular class, and through that object I have called the method. So as it is mentioned public, it can be accessed beyond the package, beyond the class. Okay. Now what are the access modifiers allowed or valid in Java? See, private is within class, but not within package. Within class, it is accessible. Outside package or subclass or outside package, it is not accessible. Default is accessible within class and within package, but not outside the package by subclass or outside package. Protected is accessed within the class, within the package, outside the package by subclass only. That too, if it is inherited. And outside package, if it is not inherited, it is not accessed. And public, it can be accessed everywhere beyond the scope. So there are certain examples listed over here. They are like, for example, a method is protected named MSG, and class simple is it extends class A. So now if I am writing again void MSG, that same method, so it will give me compile time error because that method cannot be overridden. If you are overriding any method, it must not be restrictive. It should be accessible. So as it is protected, it cannot be having its own method, having its own body in different class. It will generate compile time error. Okay.